everyone. Thank you so much for your patience. We will get started in just a couple of minutes. We're just waiting for attendees to join in. We were just having a couple of technical difficulties on our end this morning. Okay, I think I'll get started. We have 33 attendees and more joining in. And I expect some others to join us in a little bit as well. I really appreciate you taking an extra 30 minutes with us today. I know we're starting a little bit earlier. We have had a habit of going over by 30 minutes on all of the previous webinars, so we tried to just start half an hour earlier today. And we do have 2.5 hours, so we should have a lot more time for your presentations and for discussion. That's our aim for today. We will have to stop promptly just before 10 o'clock Eastern time. So we'll give everyone a heads up when that time is approaching. As a reminder to everyone, speakers will have videos turned off while they're not speaking. If everyone else could please make sure your videos are off as well. I think everyone's microphones are muted automatically, but if not, please make sure your microphones are muted when you're not speaking. We would like the discussion today to be as interactive as possible. So we intend to have many times to stop and ask questions, discuss the topics that we're presenting on. So please feel free to put any questions in the Q&A box throughout the whole webinar today, and we'll try to address those at different points. You can also raise your hand at any time to ask a question, and someone will unmute you. We do have 2 translation channels on the webinar again today, Portuguese and in Russian. You can select this language by clicking on the interpretation button and choosing the language at the bottom of your screen. And as before, we are recording this webinar and we'll make it available in all languages after today. So I think by this point, this is our 4th webinar. Everyone knows Tb Alliance very well. We're still a not-for-profit organization. We're still dedicated solely to the development of new tuberculosis drugs that are better than those that are existing today. Luckily, we have a lot of exciting advancements that we can discuss and recent results that were shared at the Union Conference that we can go over today. So we're closer than we ever have been before to seeing a whole new landscape of shorter drug treatments for tuberculosis. Just a quick review of our agenda today. I'm going to talk about some of the sessions that were shared during the Union Conference over the last 2 weeks ago, and also talk about some opportunities that that we have coming up where we'll ask for your feedback specifically on a couple of pieces that Tb Alliance is in the process of developing. Reva will give us an overview of the progress reports that were received for Q3 this year. And then we did invite a speaker, Evelyn Kibuchi from Stop TB Partnership Kenya, to share her experience with regional and global level advocacy with particular focus on building capacity of country level advocates to engage at broader levels. We may have to move the time of Evelyn's talk to later in the webinar because I think she's having connectivity issues, but we'll let you know. And then we're very much looking forward to hearing from all of you. I think we'll be able to have a little bit more time for each of you today, at least 2 minutes. And then Ezio is going to help us summarize the topic that we're discussing today, which is building and strengthening relationships with local or broader level policymakers, and gaps that we need to fill to be able to build those bridges between what you're all doing at the very local level to what's happening at a country level, regional level, or even global level of advocacy. Just quickly, this is just a few sessions that the TB Alliance shared after the union conference. Obviously, if any of you were able to join the conference, either the main conference or the community part of the conference, there were many sessions that were extremely exciting to listen to this year. The Community Connect sessions should be available for anyone to view on the Union YouTube channel, and I'll make sure to get a link to those sessions to everybody. I just wanted to share a few things that TB Alliance was involved in during the Union conference. And as I said before, we're closer than we ever have been to seeing a lot of shorter new treatments. Not all of those are developed directly with TB Alliance, but TB Alliance is involved in a lot of those. I didn't put in a pipeline slide for you today, but we can go over the global pipeline again another time, especially if you've recently been listening into a lot of the updates from all of the stakeholders that are in the TB R&D space. But one thing I wanted to highlight was a couple of very exciting pieces of news. And one is the fact that MSF has shared the results of their TB Practical study now at the Union Conference. And they're highlighting a BPAL containing regimen, BPA-L and moxifloxacin, as a regimen that they are moving forward into further study. TB Alliance has been working closely with MSF on the TB Practical study for a long time as an advisor, and we're very excited to see this additional data on bedaquiline and pretomanid and linezolid containing regimens in the space. We also were able to invite partners in Ukraine who have been conducting an operational research study independently, and that is an operational research study with BPAL. They shared some initial outcomes of their study. They're close to finalizing recruitment, I think, for that study, and I think that Ukraine is making some decisions to move forward with procuring pretomanid and introducing BPAL into a larger population moving forward. The working group on new drugs also held an annual meeting. I just wanted to point you to this because the working group on new drugs is a fantastic resource of everything that's happening in the TB drug development space. The annual meeting is a great opportunity to hear from all developers what's happening in different phase studies, everything that's being worked on right now, to develop better compounds and better treatments for TB. This recording and slides are now available, and I'll make sure I share that with you after as well. TB Alliance presented a poster on reproductive hormones in patients that were treated with pretomanid-containing regimens. As you may know, TB Alliance has been working from many different fronts to answer the question definitively about whether pretomanid-containing regimens may have some testicular toxicity results in males. As Dr. Olugbosi has shared with all of you on a previous webinar, we're conducting the BPA MZ semen study as an FDA requirement to move forward with the pediatric development plan with pretomanid to ensure that there's no negative results, negative impact on male semen after taking the BPA-MZ regimen. This study was a little different, just looking at male hormones. It did show that there was no adverse effect on reproductive hormones in males from taking this regimen. TB Alliance also did a survey, a paternity survey, and shared some of those results as well recently, doing a survey across all of the studies that contained pertomanid and bedaquiline regimens to see how many of the participants from those studies had been able to have children after they received treatment. And there was an overwhelming number of successful pregnancies and births after the treatment. On the global advocacy level, I just wanted to highlight the Global TB Caucus as well, another group that should be on everyone's radar. They're working very hard to make sure that members of parliament across the world are engaged in issues around tuberculosis. And this high-level meeting was to really put out a call to action to ensure that global leaders are aware that tuberculosis is still a very serious disease and requires a very healthy commitment of funding to be able to continue our R&D efforts. I believe the gap that we need to fill is about $2 billion per year, which may seem like an enormous amount, and the TB field has been trying to fill this funding gap for years, decades. But we also see that after the response to the COVID pandemic over the last couple of years, it is possible to mobilize resources and to advance science very quickly when needed. So the call to action is really to ensure that we keep advocating for commitments to funding R&D, especially in the TB space and in other disease areas where communities that are heavily impacted by COVID, but also tuberculosis, can have their needs met. I'll just go through the rest quickly because I realize I'm taking up a lot of time. There were some community sessions that were really interesting as well. I just wanted to highlight one that I participated in with AVAC and IAVI. This was about the development of our new good participatory practice training materials that are online. This was meant to be an online training that is easy for anyone to take. It's a 2-hour training. The purpose of this, for anyone on the call who's taken an AVAC GPP training, which typically lasts about 10 weeks, having a 2-hour training that heads of sponsor organizations, principal investigators, donors can take as a way to ensure that everyone understands GPP and the need to put resources to GPP is really helpful. And TB Alliance and IAVI are both going to be rolling out this training internally on our own learning management systems to make sure that all staff receive a GPP training, and we'll be working with all of our research partners to ensure that PIs and other research staff see GPP training when they're initiating new clinical trials as well. I'm going to move on because there are a couple of other topics that I wanted to spend a little bit of time on, but you will be able to see this information again when I share the slides, and we can discuss this also during our discussion portion. There was also just one Community Connect session that I wanted to highlight, and you may want to find the video for this. I will send it if I can. A treatment action group put together a small panel of developers, TB Alliance, MSF, and representative from the TB Next study to share results of all of those studies, and then discuss with the Global TB Cab the implications of introducing these new regimens for Xenix and for the TB Practical study. Those are BPAL-containing regimens. So this is a very exciting conversation. Like I said, we're closer than we ever have been to introducing these shorter regimens for everyone. And we're also very excited about next steps in discovery phases of our development process and early stage clinical research as well. That's something that we can dive into a little bit more in the future. I did see a couple of hands go up, so I'll just finish this next slide and then I'll pause for a moment before we move on. But I just wanted to highlight 2 opportunities that we have for feedback coming up in the next couple of weeks. I will be reaching out to all of you separately to invite volunteers to these 2 projects. So I'll just introduce them now and then I'll explain them a little bit more in detail when I reach out. Our clinical development team is working on some new trial participant booklets, and they would like to have a group of CAB members and site representatives, anyone who is interested from all of our geographic areas where we're doing clinical trials, to weigh in on a review of patient-facing materials, participant-facing materials from the Simplicity and Xenix trials, and then discuss how we can adapt those and improve those for the next clinical trials that are coming up. I know some of you participated in a focus group last year on pediatric participant materials, and that was extremely helpful. This next set of materials may be adult related. Some of them may be pediatric, but I will connect with our clinical operations team and ask them to provide a little bit more detail so I can share that in an email. We're going to be trying to do this relatively quickly over the next month, and we'll probably ask volunteers to spend a couple of hours reviewing materials, and then have at least 1, maybe 2 Zoom calls with us to discuss them and provide feedback and help participate in putting a report together for our clinical team. Also, as initially a request from one of our donors in Australia, we will need to be conducting a review of not just the TB Alliance's engagement practices, but all the engagement that's happening around our clinical trial sites to see what kind of inclusion of persons with disabilities there currently is in community engagement, but also spending some time to discuss criteria for what qualifies as disabilities in the space that we're working in, and putting together a set of recommendations for how engagement can be improved to be more inclusive of people with disabilities moving forward. This is something that the TB Alliance will take up in terms of improving our strategy, but it will also be shared amongst all PDPs and is an opportunity to really make some recommendations for the field to make sure that engagement practices across the TB R&D space are more inclusive. I'll stop there. And I do see that there were a couple of hands raised. Ezio, do we have time for a question or 2?
Yes, sure. Stephanie,
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Pinda, I see you have your hand up. You can unmute yourself if you want to ask a question. Okay, Pinda, you can unmute. If you're not able to, we can go ahead to Monica. Monica, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Hi, Monica. Monica, we're not able to hear you.
Hello?
Yes, hi.
How are you? How are you, all colleagues? I'm sorry, I'm struggling with my phone here.
It's okay.
Yeah, yes. For now, I don't have any questions. I'm just struggling with my phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
No problem at all. Pinda, if you have a question, you can go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Stephanie.
That's okay.
I'm answered. Thank you.
Yeah, in your
Okay.
last sentence, you answered my question. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we'll, I see Benedict also has a question. We'll just go to Benedict, and then if, Benedict, are you connected? Are we having some technical issues today? All right. Yeah, I see a lot of people are raising their hands. I'm concerned that we might be having a technical issue. Can someone check on the, Reva, can you check on the WhatsApp line with everybody and see if there's an issue? In the meantime, we'll move on. If that's fine, we can come back to questions in a little bit. Reva, why don't you go ahead?
Oh, sure. Also, Steph, I was going to ask if you want to change the share screen and I can control the slides now.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's do that.
Thanks.
There we go. Okay. Great. Oh, wait, let me start my video. Okay, now you can see me. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to be doing some updates on our Q3 progress reporting. And as always, thank you so much to everyone for filling it out and working with Karin to be able to get all of this information in. This time we had 19 of 20 sites reporting with a total of 6 different countries represented. And we have a nice picture here from a Women's Day event held at Uct Lung Institute. So as far as different community engagements, we actually saw quite a few, and it seems like people are really going back, at least a little, even if it's slow, to in-person events in addition to digital events. And I won't go too in depth into this slide, but we'll make sure that everyone has the link so you can spend some time and read over it. But I do just want to highlight one thing, that in the broader community engagements, it's estimated that about 3,000 people were reached. And we had 15 different engagements across all of our sites. So that's about 1 per site. Which I think is pretty amazing. And there were a few different engagements that had broad reach, and those were done at in-person events, but also via Facebook and some different webinars that were happening. And there were a lot of events around, of course, educational events around TB. There were some around COVID-19 as well. And then there were some special events like the photo we saw before, the Women's Day event. A few highlights for highly impactful events. The dissemination of our NICS and ZNICS results. There was a lot of activity that happened on that last quarter. And we have one update from CHRU King Dinuzulu Hospital, where they were able to disseminate results of NICS to everyone. And it really had a positive impact among participants in the community. There were sighs of relief, and people are even still in contact with each other. So they really built a community around that. And then CAB members also felt great about it, like they were involved and they can talk about and support the trial. So it was really great to hear that from King Dinuzulu. We also have another highlight of our ZNICS results dissemination, which was done in Moldova. And they were able to basically just present these and do some highlights. So that was another example of some dissemination. And then we have some different site highlights from a few different places, which were all, there were a lot of in-person events, which I mentioned before, which is great that we're slowly going back to those, but there was also an online event as well. And they were all pretty different. There were some for childhood TB workshops. The CAB group at UCT went to work with seniors. There was a meeting held in Tanzania in one of the wards to basically engage more stakeholders and get screenings. And then at eCare, there was a COVID-19 and TB training. And I will, again, you'll be able to read these more in depth when we distribute them. And then finally, we have some cabin community facts. There were lots of different questions brought up to cabs that cabs were working to answer. And we also have a nice picture of the cab event with members of the senior community. Yeah, that's, so if there are any questions, let us know, but if not, I'm not sure if Steph, were able to figure out the hand raising. That was.
I'm not sure. Thank you so much, Reva, for highlighting those. And I'll just echo Reva's thanks to all of you for filling out this quarterly progress report. It really is helpful for us. And I will say, especially with respect to highlighting particularly impactful events, it is very helpful for us to know what kinds of engagements you consider to be most important each quarter. And also, very importantly, we do like to hear specific questions that are coming from your CAB members, especially if they're related to clinical trial results that are coming out or the clinical trials that are happening at your site. I did see a lot of questions this time that were generally about TB and COVID. And I just wanted to also see if, if there are questions that any of you are having difficulty getting answered by communicating with your PIs or research teams, or if there are issues that you feel need to be raised to TB Alliance, please don't wait until you have to fill out your quarterly progress report. You can always contact us with those key questions if you think they're really important as well. If Octavius has a question, I've allowed you to speak. If you want to unmute, you can go ahead. I do still see your hand raised. If not, we can move on. No? Okay. All right.
Oh,
so,
thanks, I'm good.
no, we have. Yeah. Hi, Octavius.
Hi, everyone. No, thanks, I've been answered.
Okay. That's great. Well, we'll move on to Ezio now, and hopefully we can have a lively discussion at the end of the call.
Thank you, Stephanie. So we have the discussion now. I think Evelyn is having serious communication problems, connection problems today. So we may either have her later today or in the next session. We apologize for that. We will now go to the CAB's presentation, and this will be very exciting today as we have more time to discuss the relationship with the stakeholders and in strengthening them, and how we are moving forward towards a optimal relation with stakeholders. We will start today with the Philippines, the latest in our time zones. So Rolene, if you could start, that would be great.
Yes, thank you again. So I'd like to greet everyone who is present here for our forum, wherever you are. In my case, like Mr. Izio mentioned, it's in the evening right now. Thank you. So for our side, actually, even though they're not technically our CAB, TB People Philippines was able to bridge our Tropical Disease Foundation with Radisson. So they're basically essentially a Korean digital health innovations company. They're developing actually an AI for using digital X-ray. So it's also promised us, especially for quick diagnosis, especially since it would be a mobile system wherein it could be, if proven successful and efficient, it may be able to be deployed into um, inaccessible areas in the rural communities, wherein quick service may be provided even through just simple X-ray screening. So as far as what is missing for our CAB to be able to build these bridges, in as much as we are grateful for them that we were able to work with Radisson on this project, unfortunately, as far as the partnership is concerned, we are in sustaining the effort of TB People Philippines for case finding patients and directing them to our facility. Have to come up with arrangements or on our end, since uh, essentially they no further. Oh, it's okay. Is my turn
Sorry.
done? I saw
Sorry,
that I was
Rolene.
muted.
Sorry
Rolene.
about that.
It's okay. So essentially, it happened again. Okay.
Think you're all set, Rolene.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Well, essentially, we'd like to be able to give back to Table People Philippines for being able to introduce us, and for giving us the foot in the door to be able to work with other partners, particularly international partners. So, and as in this capacity, for example, with even though we're a non-profit, we'd like to at least be able to recoup the cost of operations, and as well as um, provide TB People Philippines with the support, especially since they are also just a new organization, and they could use all the support that they could get. So I still in the Philippines, it still would have to be the sustainability end of especially since TB People Philippines is doing a really great job of helping or supporting patients, especially those that the missing cases actually, wherein they've helped many patients get directed to the proper facilities for appropriate management. So hopefully that we could be able to provide more support for them, not just technical assistance, but also hopefully in the future we could work out resource assistance for them as well. Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you, Rolene. This is very impressive. This is an opportunity for people to be also discussing the technical innovations that can be introduced. So this is important that the communities are participating in this effort. So thank you so much. Let's now move to Georgia, to Dr. Jakia.
Hello. Hi.
Hello, Dr.
Regarding Georgia, the one example of how our CAB has built a successful partnership with key stakeholders is like advocacy meetings in regions where CAB members met regional government representatives. Was one of these examples. We are planning several other meetings as well in regions to strengthen our connections with regional beneficiaries and government representatives. Also, the adherence consultants in regions are in touch with regional TB representatives to reach the beneficiaries. And the missing part of our CAB to be able to build these bridges is we would like to get more publicity, plan more activities, and to interact with other stakeholders and like non-governmental organizations and CBOs.
Thank you, Dato. Please, could you clarify if the TBDOT is an initiative, or if you are referring only to directly observer treatment itself, or is that in general?
Well, I mean the DOT sites, and yeah, so they are in every region of Georgia, and the adherence group members of our organization actively communicate with them to reach regional beneficiaries.
Excellent. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dato. And now let's move to Tanzania. Thank you, my friend. Let's move to Tanzania, to Tobert Sonda.
Tolbert, I don't see you on the list here. Could you please raise your hand, whoever's account you've joined with? Okay, I see a hand. Just a minute. Great. Thanks, Hadija. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. So yeah, so I'll be presenting a short description of what KCRI has been doing with regards to TB Alliance and community engagement activities. So responding to question number one, KCRI has been a big collaborator with the Kibongoto National TB Hospital for quite some time now. And we have built a successful partnership with the National Tuberculosis and Leprosy Program and the regional education team. So we meet regularly and we plan for education activities within Kilimanjaro region. So we have a team of members from different cadres and representing the community. So we have primary school teachers, we have police officers, we have ex-TB patients, we have also doctors, we have nurses, and quite a good representation of the community. So we hold meetings and we have regular meetings that we convene and come up with timetables to go to go out to the community and provide TB education and training. And as it's shown in the right-hand side of this presentation. So we visit, this time we're visiting most of the boarding schools, and we visited one of the schools, Yamungo High School. It's a boys' school. So we go there, train and explain and demonstrate what TB is and symptoms, signs, and what to do when you feel like having one of the symptoms or signs. So basically, we have built a successful partnership with local and national partners or stakeholders working in TB. And also regionally, we have a good collaboration or relationship with the Zambian Cab member. So although we have not visited Zambia, but they have visited Tanzania, and we had some good time to exchange views and ideas and experiences regarding community advisory board and community engagement activities on TB. Also internationally, KCRI has been collaborating with many international stakeholders, including the East African Consortium for Clinical Research, and also Panacea, Thrive, and London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. These are a few of the stakeholders that we have been working closely regarding TB. And in terms of missing, bridges that we intend to, the gaps that our CAB might be facing. A majority of the CAB members here in Tanzania experiencing difficulties in communicating and following different brochures and how to network, and because most of them, our native language is Swahili, so most of the time these social media platforms and ICT skills are quite a problem, because most of these social media platforms and communication skills and networking skills, they require someone to understand English. So most of the time, our CAB members, they lack this ability to communicate in English. So it's kind of something that needs to be considered, although we are trying to educate them and to empower them, to equip them with simple skills or techniques that will enable them to communicate and to communicate with each other and other regional CAB members effectively. And also for sustainability, like what others have said, it becomes a problem because most of the time when you do not have government support or political will, community engagement activity becomes a problem, because most of the time we need to annex them within the ongoing government or political initiatives regarding TB. So it becomes easier when these activities are in line with the ongoing government activities highlighted in the national agenda. So to us, we see this is more of some missing pieces or barriers that needs to be addressed or bridged. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tobert. I would like to make one comment and one question about the social media and the communication. I think that's very important what you raised, because sometimes the communication goes around in English. Normally, the information generally goes internationally in English, and that's a limitation for many people. This is something that we have to work on a country level to try to overcome this barrier. And it's important that we in the building this connections with the national stakeholders, to make sure that the government is aware that some information has to run in the local language or languages, and that we have to provide information in local languages. This is very important. Thank you for raising that. And the curiosity that I have is about the Zambia Cab. I mean, I remember that there was a very strong cab many years ago, early last decade, on the TB HIV, TB prevention study in Zambia, which was part of a multicentric study that happened in Zambia, South Africa, and Brazil. And does it belong to the CREATE consortium? That is the same people, or do you know what is the Zambia Cab?
Thank you very much. Actually, I don't have much information, but as far as I can remember, we had CAB members visiting us from Zambia. So we had spent some few days with them and explaining what we do, and them explaining what they do. So I don't know exactly where, I mean, to which group or these CAB members from Zambia were coming from, but I remember we happened to have a team from Zambia visiting Kesharai.
And they work specifically with TB and or TB HIV. Sorry.
No, I was just going to add, Tolbert, thank you so much for adding that. I'm wondering if that is from the Cedars site, where TB Alliance was conducting some studies in the past, as part of an initiative we had for cross-site learning. We did arrange several visits of CAB members,
That's
community
excellent.
engagement staff and CAB members to visit other sites in other countries or in other regions to do evaluation and also discuss community engagement strategy. So that may be Moses from Zambia that you're
Yes,
referring
that's
to.
was Moses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's a marvelous initiative. This is something that we have to strengthen.
We
This
would
is
have loved to
great.
continue. I think
Yeah.
that came to a quick halt last March. Any of the visiting across
yeah.
sites, but of course that's something we'd love to continue doing.
That would
Anyway,
be
thanks.
fabulous. Thank you so much, Tobit. Let's now move. We stay in Tanzania, but go to Bagamoyo with Omar Juma. Hello, Omar. We don't hear you yet.
Omar, can you unmute?
Hello.
Oh, there we go.
Now we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, you can go ahead.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay. So concerning the first question about example of how CAB has built a successful partnership with another key stakeholders in Tanzania. For national level, CAB we have a very excellent building partnership with research sites like Ifakara Health Institute and other institute around the research institute around the region. We have a very good relation with the TB district TB focal team, and also with the community-based organization and other district council. And for international level, CAB a very excellent partnership with, for example, TB Alliance and other international organizations. And concerning the second question, what about the missing of so far, we can say that our CAB is well organized and already built a bridge between the national organization and the local community based on organization. Due to this bridge, the work of CAB become very easy and very successful in our region. Thank you.
This is great to hear, Omar. This is very exciting to see that you guys are really connected with the local level and the district level and the national level. And thanks for mentioning the partnerships that TB Alliance has been providing. And I think that we always have room to improve. I mean, to broaden our relations with the stakeholders. So I'm very excited to hear your achievements, and let's improve. Let's keep going with this partnerships. Thank you, and strengthening them. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jesse.
That's our pleasure. Let's now go to Mwanza. Didas Omudgi, still in Tanzania. Didas?
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you well. Thank you.
Didas Olmugie from Limri Mwanza. Basing to our first question concerning how the CAB has built a successful partnership at national level, our CAB is successfully partnering with local organizations known as TAYAPA, working at national level. CAB Mwanza, in partnership with TAYAPA, has successfully managed to organize and conduct different workshops in the country or at Mwanza, such as community workshops, meeting, advocating on access to TB treatment. And also CAB in Mwanza also collaborated with TAYAPA to refer different people for TB screening and TB to TB centers and hospitals. To the second question, what is missing? First, lack of communication skills, as mentioned by someone from Kilimanjaro, that will enable us to raise community awareness on TB and TB drug research. But secondly, capacity on TB research literacy, such as the research basics, and empowerment in designing and reviewing community-based research. And finally, what is missing again is strengthen linkages between the CAB and the other CBOs and NGOs to increase the visibility of NIMRI Mwanza Medical Research Center. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Didas. Thank you very much for this thoughtful insight. It is important to highlight that you guys have been working very successfully in Tanzania, and we have to acknowledge that the building and the strengthening of these relationships is a process that that sometimes takes a while, but it's quite impressive the work that you guys have been doing in different parts of the country. Yes, you mentioned the other CBOs and NGOs and to increase the visibility of the Mwanza Medical Research Center. I think that is an important research institution and a health institution. So this is certainly already acknowledged in the country, but we have to integrate more and more the activities, as other colleagues from Tanzania have spoken. Let's have later a good discussion on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Now, still in Tanzania, let's go now to Mbeya with Felister Kabuka.
I'm having trouble finding you in the list of participants. If you could raise your hand from the account that you've joined. Oh, I see a hand. Just a second. Where is it? Do I have it right? There. Okay. You can go ahead and unmute.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Christian.
Hi, Christian. You are going to present on behalf of Felister.
Christian Manamela. Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. You are presenting on behalf of Felister.
No, I'm on behalf of Shabba SRC from South Africa. I'm having a problem.
Christian, you are later we are waiting now for Felister Kabuka from Mbeya in Tanzania. Sorry? You'll be a bit late. South Africa comes soon, and then we will call you. Is that okay? Or do you need to leave?
No. And do we have Felister now? Is it Tausi's line?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Tausi, are you speaking on behalf of Felister?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm Felister.
Okay.
Yes.
Welcome.
National level. National level CAB members have been given opportunity to attend meetings, gathering which involves stakeholders such as community leaders meetings, health facilities meetings, and participation in TB and World HIV Day, where different stakeholders also attend. This is national level. International level, for international level, conferences and meetings like HIV vaccine trial networks, HVTN conferences, which is being conducted twice a year, usually taking place in May and October. And TB Alliance meetings, which are being conducted in South Africa. And one of our CAB members is a representative of Group CAB. What is missing for our CAB? No budget for CAB to operate independently. Depends on project funds. No effective communication tool. For example, personal computer for group CAB members to have computer so as to facilitate communication and work as global CAB member. No continuous bond with other CABs because other CABs are based on the project and they break immediately after the project ends. Yes, that is for Tanzania, Nimri, Mbeya, Mwarasi Center.
Thank you, Felister. I think you raised very important aspects of the challenges that the CABs have to build these bridges. Yes, that's true that the budgeting, the funding, and the resources are an issue, especially if the CABs need to go beyond a certain study project or a certain activity which is funded. That is actually a challenge all over the world. We face that here in Brazil. With people face that in many parts. But the important thing is how we connect, how we bridge the activities from one sponsor or one activity, one project to another. This is the learning process that we can only do on a country level. There is always opportunities that we can optimize, so to say, the relations and the opportunities that a project brings to have more of a discussion. I would like to applaud the fact that one member of Mbeya CAB is at the Global TB Cab. It's very, very exciting to know. I mean, there was an excellent renovation at the Global TB Cab. I am now a emeritus member, but I think this is. This is important that this is also raised, that you mentioned that even this member has difficulties to do the work due to the resource limitations. I think this has to be also shared with the Global TB Cab. It's important that you guys share that so that they know and they try to overcome, to help you overcoming these limitations. We can try to always accommodate the solutions. Yeah, and the fact that the projects have a limit of time, that's normal. That's how projects go. But the importance is like how our cabs are sustainable through time. So how we move from one situation to another and can have a look on this stakeholders' relationships on a long run. So what do we want to achieve? What do we want to achieve? If we want to discuss policies, if we want to strengthen our capacities to discuss policies, the resources, the human resources and the capacities have to be kept, have to be sustained. And how can we do that? Again, it will depend on how can we balance the opportunities and the resources we have from one initiative to another. But let's discuss more this later today, because that's a very important issue. Thank you so much. Now let's go to Eastern Europe. Thank you, to Eastern Europe, to Moldova. Alexandru, over to you, my friend.
Hi, Yezio. Thank you very much. Good day to everyone. Happy to hear all of you, and many thanks to organizers, of course, for this great opportunity of experience sharing. So as everyone, I'll be speaking shortly about our recent experience of building new partnership bridges. And so within the NXC project, we have started a pre- and ex-RTB situation overview study in Georgia, Moldova, Russia, and Ukraine. So the study requires local data collection, and this cannot be done, of course, without local engagement. In this regard, following the goal of the study, we have partnered with 4 key stakeholders: CAP Georgia, Research Team Russia, Vladimir Oblast, Tb People Ukraine, Tb People Russia. Except one, which is Research Team for Vladimir Oblast. The rest of them, as you can see, are in their main activity representatives of community. Sure, what else? So yeah, despite building partnerships at the international level, we have managed to build relationships with our national key stakeholders, about which we have talked so many times in our previous presentations, through CAB members' engagement into local networks such as KAP, CCM, NCE, TB platform, and so on. And that's why we wanted to share something else. For our activity, we are always guided by some principles, which we think everyone can agree on, and namely having shared set of values for the start, establishing commitment from each partner, dividing roles and responsibilities of each partner, and understanding who will lead the partnership and who will be acknowledged and how. So yeah, that would be all. Thanks, Ezio, over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alexandru. But let's speak a little more about this exciting study that you guys are conducting, or you are participating in this study?
We just started the study. So the objectives of the study are to conduct an analytical review on pre-XR and XR-TB, including the prevalence and identifying the visibility of implementing shorter treatment regimens in each country. So project activities of this would also require building the capacity of involving stakeholders and engaging communities that we partnered with at the local level.
So it will be an epidemiological study, but also has some observational study to see shorter regimens application in these countries.
Yes, and we think that this study can help communities, entities engage in a stronger relationship, like to contribute that people with pre-XR and XR could benefit from the best treatment regimens in line with the WHO recommendations, of course.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous initiative. I was not aware of that. This is really great. And especially you doing this in the Eastern European region. I think that is very exciting to know that you guys, I know that Moldova works very well in the region and do a lot of great work regionally, but that's tremendous. That's fabulous.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I mean, I acknowledge all the points that you listed in the obstacles or the limitations, the capacity to define roles and responsibilities, and the negotiation among the partners, and the leadership issue. That's always an issue, even if you are only working in a country. Comment?
Yeah, it's very important, like, to know all these key points when we want to start a new relationship, a new partnership with a new stakeholder. We haven't worked before with them, so we always start with setting the values, like knowing from the very beginning that we have the same objective, and by far it always works.
Yes, because we start by settling terms of references for the partners and sharing the responsibilities. That has to be clear since the beginning.
Always.
But life is always moving. Things happen, unexpected things happen, and you have to manage them. So one thing that life is showing us, especially with COVID, is that we have to work on our flexibility. We have to do a lot of yoga. We have to be flexible. We have to do a lot of ballet, and we have to.
some yoga exercise for Mayans for flexibility of our way of thinking.
We have to be, life is showing us that we have to be flexible and manage things. You see today, our guest speaker was unable to join, but we are having a very fruitful discussion today. Thank you, Alexandru. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, but we'll come back into discussion, and hopefully people will develop more these points. Thank you so much. Now let's move to
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure that Oksana had her hand up, but if she doesn't have anything to add, we can move on. Oh.
Thank you,
go ahead.
Stephanie, and
of
thank
course.
you as well. Just to add that beyond the epidemiological and observational study, we are planning to have a focus group discussion to see how we incorporate the perspectives of community in bringing this promising new shorter treatment regimens in the countries, and to see what may be barriers, what may be the solutions for these countries to access the best regimens for our patients. Thank you so much.
This is marvelous, Oksana. It's really exciting to have that, and especially that being led by the communities. This is very innovative, and the point is that we have to move forward. We have to push for the implementation of shorter regimens, and with the new drugs which are being made available, with all the data that the studies have been showing. TB Alliance has been, Stephanie earlier today showed so many news that were recently made public. So we have to push for that, because we cannot continue in the slow motion that sometimes tuberculosis moves in terms of providing a better treatment to people, especially with MDR and XDR. I mean, you are a very good example of that. How you and Pavel were one of the first people to receive bedaquiline, etc., have access in your treatment, and you know how difficult the MDR treatment is. I also, when I had TB, I was treated for MDR, so I know what that means. Although I was not MDR, I was in AIDS treatment failure, so I had to go through MDR medication, and I know what that means. So we have to really be, how to say, great advocates to provide people the best treatment, the short and most effective treatment. Thank you guys for leading this. This is super important and can be an important reference globally. Thank you so much. Let's now move to South Africa, to King Dinizulu in Durban. Fikisiwi, is that correct, how I pronounced?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Shabba from Durban South, King Dinizulu Hospital. Yes, I represent, sorry. In March 2017, World TB Day, the local community was graced by a national initiative from South African National AIDS Council, led by Chairperson Deputy President of the country, kept participant in the event because of the partnership with World AIDS Day Council from that form. Part of SANEC, South African National AIDS Council door-to-door activity include TB awareness campaign, and distribution of the parcel cap was recognized and asked to assist with tracing defaulters in TB lost to followers, which were about 21,000 in country. CAP was assist in the 95-95 DOH strategy, which means 95% know your status, 95% test and treat, 95% take your medication. CAP believe that this partnership brought the platform for the recruitment and dissemination of the result of the clinical trial. What is missing in your CAP to be able to build these bridges? Strength relationship with World AIDS Day counselor, structure as many as we can. We are used to face-to-face or physical contact, community engagement. What is missing? Successfully online community engagement activity and a better understanding of how technology can be used as an advantage in achieving our goals. That's all I have for CAP members. Thank you.
That's a lot. Thank you, Fikisiwi. Sorry. Sorry for that. Yeah, but that's very exciting. I love the way you put this example of having a champion leading this initiative and inspiring this initiative. I think that's very important because we, in the last years, I would say that we have not been focusing so much in the champions. I remember that we did that a lot 10 years ago or so in TB, or a bit more. But it's great to hear about this initiative, and I love the 95-95-95 strategy that you guys are implementing. Yeah, I think that that definitively having the structures that the AIDS councils have, not only in South Africa, but also in other places, I mean, partnering with them is definitively the way to go. I mean, because yes, you mentioned right. I mean, we were discussing with the colleagues from Tanzania about the limitations in resources sometimes to do the work, and but we have to optimize, as I said before, the opportunities and the structure that sometimes a initiative can have. Thank you so much. That's great, and thanks for the colleagues at King Dinizulu. And greetings to Durban, and we will come back with more discussion. Thank you so much. Now let's go. Thank you. Let's go now to Rustenberg with Vivian. And Burg. Sorry. Vivian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Yes, Vivian.
Thank you very much.
Thank
As
you.
I said, my name is Vivian Moremi from the Rustenburg site that is in the Northwest Province. In the first question, as we said we have SCAP have built a successful partnership by distributing nomination forms to relevant stakeholders through relevant meetings. And we were able to build a relationship with NACOSA, which is the Networking AIDS Community of South Africa, which is a member of SANAC. And basically, as we say, it's a member of SANAC, it's the South African National AIDS Council, of which they are head in the NGO sector in that level, and which is working with more than 20 NGOs in Bojana Platinum District, and also supporting the civil society in the entire Northwest Province. That is through your locals, your district, your province, and coordination of the Northwest Provincial AIDS Council. NACOSA has been put up by National SANAC to assist also all the NGOs, all the civil society, as we are working with 19 civil society structures. If we are saying 19, we're talking about your LGBTQI, your traditional leaders, your traditional health practitioners, your people living with HIV, and all those 19 sectors that we have identified. And fortunately, in the Bojanala, we also have your older persons that are part of the AIDS Council. As I presented today, I'm also the coordinator of the District AIDS Council. So basically, the work of the CAP, it's known throughout the 19 sectors, including the government departments and our municipalities as they are chairing this, the AIDS Council. What is missing for our CAP is we identified that our CAP is still missing some of the sectors. And these stakeholders are also still not available in the Northwest PCA. Northwest PCA is the Northwest Provincial Council on AIDS, civil societies, as it is supposed to have 19 sectors, as I've alluded before. We intend to build these bridges while we work in partnership with NACOSA during their monthly meetings, targeting different topics in line with the National Strategic Plan 2017 to 2023. We know that it was extended to 2023, even though we knew that it was going to end in 2021. Now it has been extended by national. So that is how we think of bridging the gaps, especially in bringing all the stakeholders together. Because remember that, as we said, the municipalities, the mayors are your people that are steering these AIDS councils at local level, and at what level are your ward councillors, and of which, because we are now from the, from a level where we have been busy with our elections in South Africa, meaning the new councillors need to be taken on board also. Therefore, that will be another way of bridging our gaps by capacitating them about all these programs, including HIV, TB, STIs. As my colleague in Durban has already said about the 1990 strategy, and that has also moved to 95. So we are trying, especially as Bojanala, because Bojanala is a district in the Northwest Province that has got close to 1.7 million people. So you can look at how vast we are and how vast we need to touch the lives of our people, and also to educate about the work of the CAB. So that is how we intend closing the gaps on the missing issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vivian. This is great. So just clarifying something. So the NACOSA network, it is part of the SANAC, of the National AIDS Council, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is
also. Yeah. Sorry, it is also representing the NGO sector at SANAC level.
Okay, okay. So and it's not only for northwestern South Africa. It's for the whole country, right? The NACOSA.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Remember that it is funded by Global Fund. Now
okay.
Yeah, it is funded by Global Fund, and it is responsible for the whole country.
All right, all right. Oh, great, great. And another thing, and just a clarification. So I think you mentioned that, but so the National Strategic Plan was extended to 23, and you are already discussing the maybe. So you probably, if that extended, you kept the same goals. Or are you planning to revise to discuss that in the national level?
No, we are keeping the same goals until 2023.
Okay.
That is why it has been extended because of the COVID-19. Actually, I think nationally saw that, the whole of 2020, there was not a lot of activities that NGOs could do. Now they have extended it so that the same 8 goals that we are having, we need to strengthen them to that level.
But that relates to the National Strategic Plan by the NTP in South Africa, right?
Yes, correctly, correctly so. And actually, remember that the National Strategic Plan, it's also aligned to the NDP 2030. So we are trying to align it to that. Yes.
Okay, that's great. That's great to hear. But important is that you guys are very much engaged in the discussion and updating of the new strategic plan. Here in Brazil, we just had the strategic plan being released a couple of weeks ago officially, and we participated in that discussion. But sometimes we want to push the government a little further to make things to be more, how to say, bold in terms of dealing with tuberculosis goals. And so because the end TB plan is for us is with the COVID has been very much impacted. So we have to get back to track, right? Thank you so much.
And also remember that NACOSA, as it is, it also funds small organizations that are in the communities.
All right.
During that period, we also are part of their shortlisting. Therefore, we can save even their hand on whom to fund, especially after we realize the importance of the program to the communities.
All right. Thank you. Yes. That's great to hear that NACOSA does seed funding for community-based organizations. Is that right?
Correct.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Vivian. Let's now move to Joburg, to Swizi and Thabo. It's over to you.
Sure.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Jeanette, so I'll be standing in for Thabo since he's having a network challenge. Yes, I'm also a CAP member. I'll be working for SHRU. So what worked for us in the partnership with the stakeholders, we also partnered with the LGBTI community members, which are our lesbians, gays, bisexual, transgenders, and queer and intersexual. And We also partnered with Treatment Action Campaign, which is working very extremely well. Not so long ago, around this year, Treatment Action Campaign also campaigned for our government to acknowledge TB as one of the killing factor in South Africa. So the partnership and that we form with them as our stakeholder, it's really working very, very well. And to the next question, what is missing in our CAB is to build a very, very strong impact and sustain the communication between us and the stakeholders, and also have a two-way feedback, which is we cannot expect the update from one side and the other side not giving the feedback, and also getting all the updates, and also evaluate our stakeholders partnership, whereby we cannot form a partnership with our stakeholders and leave it like that, and not evaluate if we're doing good, if we're winning or we're losing. So it's one of the things that we see that we're also lacking on. And also strengthening our relationship with them so that we know for sure that we have them in our back as CAB. And I think that will be all from our side. Thank you.
Thank you. That was quite important, because I think you mentioned thanks for mentioning the Treatment Action Campaign and the partnerships with the LGBTQI communities. I mean, there's lots of letters. Not even myself. I don't know all the letters, for what they stand for. It's a lot, but that means that we have to be aware and to recognize, acknowledge the diversity that we work together, and that's very important. But I would like to highlight something that you said. For me, it is precious, which is to evaluate, for your CAB to evaluate how the partnerships are going. So this is crucial, and you are the first CAB to mention that, and that's very important. That's very important for all the CABs, because what we are building with the CE Forum is exactly this understanding of how we strategize, how we strengthen the partnerships, how we go beyond, how we move ahead. This is not possible if we don't evaluate. If we don't evaluate what works well, what does not work well, and what do we need to change, what is missing, and how we change the strategies. Sometimes we need somebody to be speaking with some people specifically. Sometimes we need some skills that we don't have in some areas, so we have to learn. And we have to, again, as we spoke before, try to optimize the resources we have. So, but thank you for mentioning the evaluation aspect, because this is, for me, this is crucial. Thank you so much. And we will be back soon in the discussion. Hopefully we can discuss with the other colleagues. But now let's go back to Durban again, to Benedict. Yeah, Benedict.
Benedict may have some issues connecting audio. I see he's on, but Benedict, are you able to connect your audio? Okay. Oh, there. Oops. I think he's having trouble with audio right now. I'm going to help him with that connection, and let's move on to the next speaker for the time being. if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, I don't mind. Stephanie, you mentioned that somebody has to, it seems that somebody has to leave earlier.
Yes, if you don't mind, if we could go forward to Audrey from Uct Lung Institute in Cape
Yes,
Town. It's the second to
course.
last.
Yes.
We can do that presentation now and then move back. Hopefully I can get Benedict connected.
We definitively can do that. Audrey, are you with us? Audrey, from the Uct Lung Institute.
Sorry, I'm just connecting her. Just a second. Zania, do you have Audrey with you, or is there another line? Okay, Rosalind Schwartz. Got it. Okay, that should work. Sorry, everybody.
No problem.
Okay, Rosalind, you can unmute so Aubrey can.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good
Rosalind.
afternoon. Oh, thank you very much. I'm Audrey Rodriguez from Uct Lung Institute. Our successful partnership is with the City of Cape Town Health Department, where we often work with them to host outreaches and community events. And we encourage people to go for testing, do testing, bring awareness and education to the people. We would like to have a better relationship and presence at national level. A CAB member to have a seat at national health level. What is missing for CAB to be able to build these bridges? CAB membership, total membership can be increased. We need to form a relationship with more stakeholders that can help us strengthen and build our relationship with a National Department of Health. We need to design a plan of action and stakeholder mapping activity. And I think that is what will help us. Although we collaborate with the Department of Health on a local level, CAB needs a representative in our national health meetings. Since we've got a CAB member representing CAB at Senate on a provincial level, to achieve that, we need to increase the number and for government to acknowledge CAB as the voice of the people. We've made quite an impact on very large areas, as CAB are invited by many NGOs, but that's only locally, and with the way we do our advocacy, we can reach greater heights. Thank you.
Audrey, this is what you said about the municipality, the activities that you do with the health department of the municipality of Cape Town is very important. I know that you are aiming to have more of a relationship with national level advocacy, but that's very important that you have strong relation with the local level. So that's nothing wrong about that. But to have the roots very well, very firm will make you great national advocates. And we cannot go global if we are not good locally, and that's the most important thing. So that definitely we can always improve the relationship, etc. But you are in South Africa, so you have fabulous colleagues. We have been listening to many of them, And I think that we'll have a great opportunity to strengthen this relationship also with the other networks that we just heard in South Africa. Thank you so much, Audrey. And we will see examples of that also from Brazil and other places regarding the municipality. Stephanie, just to let you know, Evelyn had an emergency, but she's able to join now. I'm not sure that she has joined it.
So sorry to hear that. I don't see her joined yet, but that's great to know. Let's keep an eye out for her. I think that we do need to keep an eye on time, but I think that actually bringing Evelyn into the discussion after these presentations is perfect timing if we're able to do that. I am just trying to get to Benedict now. I see that I'm supposed to unmute Zanele. But I'm sorry, I'm not seeing Zanelli on the list. Can you raise your hand, please? Okay, got it. Sorry, I'm not seeing it now.
Okay.
There, perfect. Yes, hi.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Benedict. Thanks so much for joining.
Thank you, Benedict.
Okay, thank you. Just running short of the network. I have to use my neighbor's laptop. By the way, Benedict Sandile coming from Enhancing Care Foundation, South Africa. Let's go straight, or rather, let's shoot straight to the question number one. The CAP members are strong like a lion jaw, by the way. Yeah, the CAP members have influenced the civil society in declaring TB as a public emergency, jointly with civil society, with KwaZulu-Natal Department of Health, to declare TB as a public emergency and to ensure that role players or the gatekeepers or the politician, they invest more on TB, quality medicine and the services related to TB, and to ensure that we need more resources and adequate staff, because sometimes we might have the treatment, but without the staff, treatment can never be effective enough. I think that we are on the right track, but one of the elements, because that presentation is just a continuity of the last presentation, of as the CAP members, we need also to be more influential and to ensure that we always hold the politician accountable. So we got a very good opportunity because we had the local government election. So all the politicians were available to ensure that they committed themselves, that they can invest more on TB and they can prioritize the health system. Let's go straight to the slide number 2.
Thank you so much.
Okay, sorry. Because one of the missing link for the past 25 years in South Africa, as much as we've been very active in terms of advocacy to bring about the treatment, to ensure that people their own treatment, and to ensure also that people they're accessing quality, affordable treatment. But one of the missing link was the political will. And by right now, we are on the right track in achieving and to ensure that we are not influencing the community, but we are influencing the community to influence their political parties, to influence their local leaders, provincial leaders, district leaders, and the national leaders. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Benedict. Again, I think you are reaching the most important aspect, which is the grassroots. I mean, if we don't have a good connection with grassroots, if we can't relate with them well, it's very hard for us to be able to influence effectively in the national level and really benefit the communities. I mean, we have to have this sense, because I think the communities are actually doing this role of bridging what is the reality on the ground. So what people face in access to treatment, in access to services, and how the reality goes. So I think that is very, very important that you guys highlight that. You are right that important to maintain the relationship, but also to expand it, and to have a better influence in the local level. So
in that sense, we are shaping our agendas to ensure that when we are going to the global platform, we ensure that from the grassroots level to the national level to the regional level towards the global platform to ensure that more resources on TB. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Benedict. Stephanie, Evelyn is asking to send over WhatsApp.
Oh, sure. I think that you have her connection, mobile connection. I may not. So if you don't mind, I'll send the link into our WhatsApp and then you can forward it.
Perfect. So and let's now move to Izango Latemba.
Hi everyone, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. I was a bit confused with the question, but here goes. So a very strong partnership that we've built nationally is with our Department of Health, especially with our new study that is currently running that's called Beat Tuberculosis, where we get all our patients from the hospital, the initiation hospital, the hospital, the Center of Excellence, where they deal with MDR, pre-XDR, and XDR patients, and all these patients can be our patients. So that is a good partnership that we built with them, because we could also build up their stats results, because we don't have a lot of defaulters or loss to follow up because of the close relationship we have with our patients, and we can go fetch our patients. So that's a great partnership we built with them and other stakeholders, other small stakeholders that are also in the TB field that we work with, especially the ones that have little children, where they can refer to us and say that, have you been to this family, there's TB in this family, education. So we used to do door-to-doors before COVID-19, but we can also do education in the community about TB and in schools. So where we teach or where we educate children about the signs and symptoms of TB. And then what's missing for our CAB is more networking, I suppose, amongst a greater or larger stakeholders is needed, and more being more out there or going more on social media in our communities, and this is what we do. So yeah, that's that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, definitely. The best way to mobilize is the communities. The community members can be very helpful in bridging and expanding this relationship. Thank you for mentioning also the children and the recruitment that you guys do, and the support for information that the Izango Latemba Research Unit does. I think this is this is obviously related to the work you guys do, but there is always a possibility to expand. I think the partnering with a group of TB advocates in the research institution can play a big role. So where are you based in South Africa again?
We are based in Port Elizabeth, the Eastern Cape.
Port Elizabeth. Oh, yeah, of
Yes.
course. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are initiatives in Port Elizabeth that you can partner with, and obviously the South African networks are there. So I think this is a very good way to learn from each other. I think the exchange within South Africa is also very important. But thanks for mentioning the work and the efforts that you are doing from the clinical staff and the research unit and the service level to reach out the communities. This is something that we will build through the time. Thank you so much. Now let's go to Audrey from Madinberg.
Madinberg. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. I'm Audrey, a CAC member in Madinberg Center for Research in Brad's Madinberg, Bojana, South Africa. And to be given this opportunity is a clear demonstration of how our side wants to improve on relationship with community, because we are from CBOs. And the one other demonstration is that in the annual plan that MCR has, they always make sure that stakeholders meeting and so forth, sisters from the different clinics in our sub-region are represented in information sharing sessions as stakeholders and other form of engagements. And if I go straight to the presentation, is that ensure that the community engagement at the local level by making sure that people understand, share, and give feedback on TB trials taking place within their communities. Second one is consider principles such as mutual respect, fairness, integrity, transparency, and accountability takes place in engaging with communities and our stakeholders. Establishing CAC that participate in community empowerment, initiating sustainable post-study activities. The site community liaison officer facilitate the community entry and obtaining permission. The CAC is its main mechanism is together with direct advice from community leaders. And on the second question, what I would say after some colleagues mentioned SANAC is that because you've got SANAC and also the provincial level and district, what is a missing link is the local, because from that levels we used to have what we call local AIDS councils. That our local so I think even is there to resuscitate it and revive it, that at least because we understand at SANAC, where the deputy president are very senior leaders. So localization, I would think, will be to make sure that because it's been there, and then make sure that it's lively. So my point, the other point is to be able to gather feedback from staff and the community through innovative survey, questionnaire methods, which are both effective and not disruptive. And the second last one is once challenges have been understood, solution to this to be proposed in order to boost engagement between site staff and the community at large. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Aubrey. I think you mentioned very important things as well. Thanks for mentioning the need of treatment literacy, research literacy, to be able to make people understand and can share and give a meaningful feedback. And obviously the aspects that involve the best participatory practices with fairness, integrity, and transparency, and accountability. I love that you mentioned the sustainable post-study activities. This is very important. That we continue to analyze how with the implementation of new policies, how the services are going and how things are functioning. This is extremely important. And thanks also for what is missing, for you mentioning already a solution, an initiative that you can have to bridge, to learn from the communities and from staff the needs and where are the bottlenecks, so that you can better plan. Thank you so much for bringing this to the floor. So we are going to move now to Shabba Research Center with Christian. Do we have Christian? Rosie Masilo?
Hello.
Oh, great. Hi.
Hello. It's Octavius from Shabba. I'm representing Christian because he's got a challenge with his phone.
Okay. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.
On the first question, our CAB built more than one successful partnership as we locally and nationally known through different research networks. This is due to working with local facilities, clinics, FBOs, schools, and NGOs in our region in order to make TB Cab and researchers to be successfully implemented and advocating for the right to care and treatment for TB. Although as much as our CAB comes from different organizations, as much as some of us representing TAC, some other representing some other NGOs such as CDWs and other staff of political and municipalities members. So we are very, very much obliged to be linked with the national level and internationally, because all of the sittings we are in, as much as I represent the PLHIV sector, local treatment action campaign. So all the information that is starting from national, from SANEC, it comes back to us as we sit also in local AIDS council. So what is missing on the point 2, our CAP needs support financial for additional advocacy program to cover holistic approach in programs that can mobilize advocacy support for TB patients on local and national platform. And it also needs a standard email that we can able to network with it, so that as much as we have an executive committee in our CAP, we need to have a standard email, also an office that we can have our communication through our committees and in our office, so that even though you lost your personal contact, but you can able to log in the CAP office resources, so that we can able to communicate with other stakeholders who are relevant to assist us, so that we can be strengthened and have a larger communication with other stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's Octavius is the name,
yes.
Your name? Yeah, Octavius. Octavius, you are bringing something very important. One thing that I would like to highlight is the fact that you have a broader CAB composed by different people from different organizations, from different CBOs, etc. That's the richness of the work. That's how you can reach more people. I mean, you have this. So this is already you have half the way done when you have you relate with also with your municipality and services, having the feedback from different community organizations, so they understand how the access to services happens and how policies are implemented in the country, so that you can discuss that in a upper level. And you are correct. I mean, in terms of organizing the CAB and having I would say institutional or centralizing or a coordinator who where the focal point is clear to everyone, so that the CAB can communicate well with all the members, that things are organized in a way that that clearly there are information sharing and organization. That's crucial for you guys to achieve greater roles and greater levels and other stakeholders. So getting organized internally is fundamental, and you are right, but you have all the capacities there. Thank you so much. Thank you, Octavius. Now we go to task from Cape Town again with Bravo Thompson.
Hi, good day, everyone.
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. Yes. Well, our service task cap. We've been national and international. We've got quite a level of partnership, right? By having like NAPWA members inside of our CAB, and that are spreading. And we've been having a partnership with DOH, the Department of Health. Okay. There was the recent vaccine campaign that we also took part in, where the CAB took initiative in encouraging the community to vaccinate by the numbers. Some CAB members even were prominent in leading that campaign. Also, the Welcome Back campaign that has been initiated by ANOVA and the Department of Health. We were also part and parcel in that. And the main aim and focus was in attracting and getting our clients and our patients back, more especially the TB patients that has been like lost for quite some time, and as well as the HIV patients as well. Yeah. People. Okay. With regarding what is missing in our in the CAB and the building of bridges is we definitely need to strengthen our bridges by ensuring the research literacy going out in our community much more. Earlier on, I listened when you with going through the slides, I saw that there were some programs such as about the games that was spoken about that we can introduce into our community. I think it's actually great. And we the last time we had was the snakes and ladder thingy, and building our bridges in research, bringing and more and when the high gatekeepers better understand the necessary formalities in research, it will be easy to engage and access necessary hotspots and raise awareness in education. These are places it can't reach due to the leaders and lack of the importance of clinical research. Yeah, so if most of our leadership knows the importance of leadership, we think that, yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bravo. Yeah, I think the aspect that you guys in Cape Town are campaigning together with the vaccination initiative, national initiative, and the AIDS in treatment initiative for the Welcome Back campaign is a great thing. It's a great achievement. I think that's you're already showing how you can connect with national activities and give a local feedback and support. And yes, and definitively the research literacy, as other colleagues have previously mentioned. It's fundamental also for you to be the gatekeepers and to understand how research is performed and the implementation is going. Thank you so much for that. Let's now move. We have to move a bit quickly with our last three presenters, because we try to have like 15 minutes with Evelyn, which is with us. So let's go now with Dudu from Think in Pietermaritzburg. Dudu, over to you.
Good day, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes,
Hello?
completely. We hear you very well, Dudu.
Good afternoon. It's just afternoon in South Africa. Good morning when those in the morning. So
yes.
I think my presentation, since I've been listening to my PA presenters, our South African presenters, seemingly it's just gave me a little bit of paradigm shift where we all been engaged with the SANAC, which our peers has been mentioned. Since we know that CAP is a research support key stakeholder and part of the civil society in the local AIDS council. Also, CAP are also represented in the district council as well as in the provincial AIDS council, where the implementation plan is discussed on HIV, TB, and STI, including COVID these days. So nationally, the process of recognizing CAP to be represented as a research sector, not as an individual, but we are in that process to launch our clinical research as a sector within the civil society. So the idea has been introduced to SANAC, which is supported by our provincial AIDS council. And then we are just looking at this, since our sector has been represented within the civil society, then the collaboration body will be able to coordinate all of us within South Africa. As we are talking about SANAC, who is going to represent the clinical trial research as a CAP in a national, which is our South African National Council, who is going to represent our CAP in the district as well as in the local AIDS council. So we're in that process. Fortunately, I think we are working with the Medical Research Council as a coordinating body to map all the TB and HIV Clinical Research Institute within our provincial district as well as in national, so that we can be able to being the part of the global CAP, a community engagement forum to share the best practice partnership. What has been missing, since I've been listening, as I've been saying before, I think what is missing, since we have the same idea, the same goal, but the coordination body is just missing, meaning that we need to coordinate ourselves as in a province as well as nationally. So I've been trying to jot down all our partners in South Africa so that I can share the mapping process so that we can come together as one body. Going back to what Stephanie has been saying, this cross-site sharing, I think that's what is missing, because who's going to collaborate and fund all those cross-site best practice, meaning that the main gap that needs to be filled is to have a collaboration body within us as a country, so that we can share common goals, so that we can be represented provincially as well as nationally and even globally. Thank you so much. I think I didn't take much of your time.
Dudu, you did great. Thank you so much. And I think you gave already the response to your questions. I think that you are, the process of being recognized by SANAC and also working on the local level, on the provincial level, and the national level makes you participating in this discussion. There is another aspect that you mentioned, which is the funding. Who coordinates that? I mean, there are different paces among the relationship that we establish with different stakeholders, like on the municipal level, or the state level, or the national level, or the international level. They function a bit differently with different paces and different rhythms, but we have to coordinate that well. That's a challenge, and again, that's what we saw with other colleagues. I mean, how we organize the CAB in the way to provide a coordinated response that expresses your view and your point of view, collective point of view, from your, not only from Pietermaritzburg, from KwaZulu-Natal, and from the country. So that's something that has to be built. There is no magic rule. We have to build that, but definitively you are on the way. Thank you so much, Dudu. You're always brilliant. Thank you. Boitumelo, over to you. You're looking forward.
Good day, everyone. Am I audible?
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you for the opportunity again, Ezio. We, as the Matlasana Cab in Tshepong Hospital, one of the success that we have achieved is having a collaboration with other stakeholders within the Dr. KK sub-district in Matlasana. For example, the AIDS Council at both local and provincial level. This has strengthened the relationship with other organizations within Matlasana area and surrounding areas. The organizations that I'm talking about, I'm talking from NGOs, NPOs to departmental organizations. And what we have found that is missing within the CAB is we have actively built strong relations within the community, with the community members in our local surroundings, and we have taught them how we operate in our research studies. The problem that we have is that some organizations don't have a deeper understanding of how a research study works against how a departmental facility works, or a clinic or a hospital works. So some of them still have a challenge of actually they are reluctant on joining the studies because they're thinking that maybe they're going to be used as guinea pigs, if I may say. So we as CAB, we are trying to, teach people of the importance of a study, research studies before we now look into how it differs from the clinic and the hospitals. And I must say, with that being said, with the campaigns that we've had and the awarenesses that we've had within our communities, we have actually got to teach people more on the different TB studies that we have and why it is important for them to be part of our studies, not forgetting also COVID studies that we are having currently. Thank you.
Thank you, Boitumelo. Thank you. I mean, you. Thanks again also to bring back the idea of how trial participants feel sometimes, and what the communities can do in terms of clarifying how studies go, and that they are supported, and the information that can come from the communities. I think that's and thanks for also reaffirming the importance of the district and local and provincial level that you guys have been working. Definitively, there are these challenges that the organization has in how to orient the studies, and how the information can flow better to the communities. And this is the exercise. I think this is exactly the exercise that we have to constantly do. The idea of the CABs is exactly to bridge this communication. This is something that we construct, that we build together. So, but definitively you guys have been doing a great job at Chapong Hospital. Thank you so much. Let's now go to last speaker from Brazil, Ana Leila Gonçalves. Thanks, Ana Leila. She's going to speak in Portuguese, but you have the slide in English, and the translation will be available to you. Over to Ana Leila.
Olá. Olá, boa tarde e bom dia a todos.
Bom dia.
Bom, como seu CCAP desenvolve uma parceria exótica com tomadores de decisões nos níveis locais, nacionais e internacionais? Bom, os membros do CCAP Síntese no Brasil atuam em diferentes frentes, com programas de secretarias de governo. Um bom exemplo é como o CCAP tem trabalhado em conjunto com diferentes secretarias de governo municipal da região metropolitana do Rio de Janeiro, para encontrar soluções para diversos problemas enfrentados pelas pessoas afetadas pela tuberculose. A partir daí, programas institucionais em níveis estaduais e federais são ativados. Além disso, os membros do Síntese TB Brasil têm liderado em diversas discussões, iniciativas em nível estadual. No Rio de Janeiro, em nível nacional, como monitoramento, implementações de políticas para a tuberculose. O CCAP Síntese TB Brasil também vem promovendo diálogos a níveis anuais, nacional, por meio de webinar como Dia Mundial da Tuberculose em 2019, em 2020, no próximo dia 12 de novembro, a Simples CCAP TB Brasil promoverá um binário nacional. Todos estão convidados. Os membros CCAP Síntese TB também participam de outros CCAP como a AIDS, com recentes experiências exóticas da Advocacy também do CCAP Nacional TB no Brasil. Os ativistas da tuberculose, Estado do Rio de Janeiro, também são pioneiros, mobilizações parlamentares em suas assembleias. Há muitos anos, hoje existe uma frente nacional contra o TB, Congresso Nacional Brasileiro. Bom, para construir e desenvolver essas pontes, a experiência histórica brasileira de engajamentos comunitários foi construído pelos próprios movimentos sociais, em especial pelos ativistas do movimento de AIDS. A sociedade civil furou o bloqueio imposto pelos gestores e governos. Diante das dificuldades expostas pela conjuntura política brasileira de construção, fragilização do Sistema Único de Saúde SUS, pelo atual governo federal, faz-se necessário manter o diálogo, a construir pontos com setores progressistas da sociedade e com as pessoas, chave na gestão dos programas nos estados e municípios. CCEP 5CTB, desde o início, tem tentado promover e manter abertas as ações, buscando compartilhar informações e monitorar a implementação das políticas de saúde nos âmbitos local, estadual e nacional. Obrigada pela oportunidade. É uma coisa simples. Ninguém solta a mão de ninguém. Nós juntos fazemos as políticas públicas.
Maravilhosa. Thank you so much, Ana Leila. Obrigado. Estou agradecendo você em inglês. Thank you so much. This is really great. I mean, the CAB and you as a community leader have been doing a great job in the municipalities in the metropolitan area, and that's exactly what you explained. I mean, we go from the very local level to grassroots to the national discussion and to promote the national discussion. Thank you so much, Ana Leila, for that. Now we have only 9 minutes left, and then we have Evelyn with us. Evelyn had an emergency today. Evelyn, we have 2 choices. Either you make if you want to make open comments on what you've heard since you joined, or if you want to do a super concise presentation, because we have to close in 8 minutes. So Evelyn, over to you. What would you prefer to do? We have 8 minutes for you. What would be your choice?
Obrigado, Ezio. Can you hear me?
Yes, Smilia. How are you?
Yes, I'm very fine, thank you. And my sincere apologies, but I am happy I'm here now. I am going to make the most of the 8 minutes, and I'm going to very quickly and concisely go what I had prepared. If you could just go straight to the beginning of the presentation. Yes, first of all, Evelyn Kibuchi is my name. I'm the Chief National Coordinator, Stop TB Partnership Kenya. Before I came to TB, I was working in research and development. I was working with IAVI, that is International AIDS Vaccine Initiative. I was a CAB member for the vaccine research. And yes, so I wear those 2 hats. I have that experience. My role here is to quickly go through how communities can influence policy, and I'm going to share the examples that we have from Kenya. So I am making this presentation from actually one of the research sites for the vaccine research called Kangemi. That's where I'm seated right now in that office. So yeah, I'm in the research mode. I will not do the definition of communities. I know we all know who we are, so let's go quickly. I want to really emphasize that communities are very essential. They are the key drivers of policy influence. And I want just to take us a second and imagine of any policy change that was made without the push from communities. I bet you may not find any. Yeah, so they're very key in policy change. Next. Yes. And community engagement has actually been recognized in quite a number of frameworks. For TB, if you go to the NTB strategy, the importance of community engagement is there. For the United Nations high-level meeting, again, engagement of communities have been emphasized. The National Strategic Plan, for example, for Kenya, the TB strategic plan, communities have been acknowledged. And we also have what we call community health strategy, which again overemphasizes on the need to engage communities in the process. So I'll quickly look at what skills are required or what is required for community engagement for policy change. Next. Next slide. Yeah. One of the very crucial things that is, sorry, back. Just one slide back. One slide back, please. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, ahead. One of the things that is required is access to information. We cannot do advocacy, we cannot influence change if we do not have the necessary relevant information that we require. And for example, for TB, we require the entire spectrum of information around TB, from screening, diagnosis, treatment management, the supply chain management, prevention. We need that information. I picked an example in research. We need the information in the entire process of research, from what chemical compositions, the trial candidates, the clinical trials, duration of trials, everything. We also need an understanding of the R&D policies, both at the global and the national level, especially the policies that are touching on the disease in question. We need basic research skills, because when we're doing advocacy, we need to do our own research to generate our own data to support our
Evelyn, it seems that
policy analysis. We need for this.
Now I think, have we lost Evelyn?
I'm here.
Yeah,
Evelyn,
for a while you were cut, Evelyn, but now we hear you
sorry.
well. Yeah, please go
Let's
ahead.
move the next
you have
slide.
three. You have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, I'll move next. Next slide, please. The slide, yes. Advocacy is about numbers. We need to be organized in coalitions. We need to get ourselves into networks. We need to build very strong partnerships. We need to be recognized by the powers that be. For example, the National TB Program, or whichever research bodies that we have at the country level. We need to be recognized, and we need to have very strong partnerships. We need access to data. You cannot do advocacy without data. We need to be meaningfully engagement in the policy making processes, protocol development, ethical processes, report writing, dissemination. Communities need to be engaged there. And we need platforms for engagement where we can engage the relevant stakeholders. And very important, we need funding for advocacy. Again, in advocacy, the human resource is the tool of trade. We need to fuel the tool of trade, which is a human resource. It needs a lot of to be supported. Next. Next slide, please. Yes, quickly, what processes have we used in advocacy? One, we really value dialogue. Before we do anything else, we try to do dialogue to try and influence change. Secondly, we advocate for representation at all policy-making processes so that we can influence from inside. So, for example, in Kenya, we are represented the TB ICC, the Research and Development Committee of Experts, the TPT committees, the TB HIV, Childhood TB Committee of Experts. We ensure that communities are represented at that level. We use personal stories, very powerful for advocacy. We engage mainstream and social media, again, as a tool for advocacy. And we also have a very good relationship with the policy-making bodies, for example, the parliamentarians. We work with the Tb Caucus, the Health Committee, the National Research Council. Yeah, we need to have engagement and access to them. Yes, and when diplomacy fails, of course, we go to the more aggressive advocacy, which is doing petition letters, signed commitments, declaration, protests, and marches. Again, that's just a strategy for advocacy. Next. Next. Yeah, I will quickly, in 1 minute, share an experience how we were able to use communities to influence policy. Last year, the National Network of TB Champions were awarded the Cochin Award. Why? Because they were able to influence the budgeting process, the granting process of Global Fund, to ensure that, one, it was a patient-centered rights, the gender and human rights were an integral part of the process until the signing of the grant. And even now, we are still engaging the communities to ensure that what was put in the paper is being implemented and that the budget has been allocated. So how did we do this? First of all, we ensured that they were a coalition. We strengthened their capacity in the grant writing process. We disseminated all the relevant policies and documents and reports like the gender assessment reports, the UNHLM targets, the National Strategic Plan targets. Next. Yeah, with this, we ensured that we have the communities represented in the different thematic areas, and we had constant consultation to ensure to inform what they were going to say in the granting process. There was a lot of consultation. We supported the members to participate by giving bundles because it was just during COVID, and documentation, very key. The entire process was documented to document their contribution so that if it's not integrated, then we had the documentation to say, we said this, where is it? Next.
Perfect.
Yes, and yeah, community must be in touch with the actual policymakers, like I mentioned. And finally, I just want to touch on key challenges in advocacy. One, the funding component, the capacity. We need to constantly need capacity strengthening to be able to influence policy, and sustaining the advocates, especially in TB or in R&D, is difficult. We need to see systems and strategies to retain them in advocacy. I will stop there because of the
Thank you so much, Evelyn.
Thank you, Evelyn.
Thank you so much for you to make this to come to us despite the emergency that you had today. The experience of the Kenya Stop TB partnership, and you as an advocate, how you got there and how Kenya has advanced so much, it's very important. Thank you so much, and we'll be sharing your slides to the people. So the discussion was excellent. Thank you, each one of you today. Now over to Stephanie for the final comments. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank the team, and thank everybody for staying with us for 2.5 hours.
Yes, thank you so much. And Evelyn, thank you very much for joining. And I hope everything is okay on your side. The context that you bring to this discussion, I think, is really perfect for where everyone was today. And I hope that you were able to listen to some of the presentations from our cabs. I think, we have one comment in the chat from Irene also about wanting to build a stronger network across cabs in South Africa and regionally. I think there's a lot of gaps that were identified today that are really relevant to a lot of the specific challenges that you mentioned as well, Evelyn. I would love to invite you back to our next discussion if you're available, because I think that spending a little bit more time on the discussion portion of this and having a dialogue with all of our stakeholders would be very valuable. And we also have an option to record a side conversation between you and Ezio, perhaps as well, to do kind of a facilitated Q&A that we can share with everybody as well, if you're open to that. I will just quickly ask everyone to please save December 2nd for our final webinar this year. That's the day after World AIDS Day. I know that's a busy time for everyone as well. We will share information from this webinar out as quickly as we can. And I just want to say one last thank you to everybody for getting your slides in so quickly. We really appreciate it. And thank you, Jessica, for staying a few minutes late today. Thanks to our interpreters as well. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.